Well, hello, DesignHounds. Hello again from Signature Kitchen Suite Experience and Design Center in Napa, California. Thank you for joining me for another round of your True to Food homework for our next date. This one actually is date night, summer Lovin' date night. So thank you for having me, and thank you for tuning in. We have some brief yet very important homework to do. You are enlisted with 4 recipes. We're doing a little trio of crostini, and we have to make the crostini. We're sending you all the goodies. Don't worry, I've included some extra goodies should you mess something up. That does happen. It's food. I don't have tons of time, and you don't want to watch hundreds of hours of videotape on these, so I'm going to go through very quickly each recipe as its own instead of jumping all around so no one gets confused. And I will go through the important, what I believe are the important key points, so that when we meet again on date night, your food looks like my food and it's all true to food. So crostini is the base vehicle for these 3 other recipes. Crostini are important. They need to be crisp and nice and still taste like delicious toasted bread, so I keep them very simple. You have a recipe for crostini. The important parts of crostini are your oven. You need a Signature Kitchen Suite oven to make perfect crostini. No, you don't. But it will help because our bake setting is amazing. It's consistent, it's even. You can do multiple trays of crostini, and I've actually done them on bake and convection bake, and they come out beautifully and crisp and perfect on both of those settings. So, temperature, 375 degrees. If you have some underperforming archaic oven at home, you may want to do 400 or even 425 if you know your oven to underbake things. I'd rather go higher than longer because you want them to get a little bit golden brown. You don't want them to sit in a low oven and dry out and turn into breadcrumbs, basically, to dust when you touch them. You still want them to hold up like a crostini. Temperature important. Next part, important. Thickness. Look, thin. I cut 1 baguette with a sharp bread knife. Nice, even slices. Down, 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 just like you're doing slice of bread, but super, super thin, okay? Then, see? Consistent and even is actually more important than super thin. Make sure they're all the same, because some are gonna bake too much, some are gonna stay soft, you're gonna have a problem. So make sure they're consistent, okay? So here you have it, sliced bread in a bowl, big pinch of salt, there's the recipe somewhere attached. Big pinch of black pepper, I like black pepper on my crostini, and big drizzle of olive oil. I like to do them, I think it's 2 tablespoons for the baguette. I like to toss and do these in a bowl because I find that you really want to coat them well with olive oil. You can get your hands in there and toss them up like it's a salad. Because look, if you just drizzle the oil over, it's only going to sit in a couple places on the crostini. If you brush it on there, it's painstaking labor and it's going to take a long time and a lot of oil. So put them in a bowl, toss them up, and voila, and they're all nicely coated with a sheen of oil and salt and pepper. And then what you want to do is you want to put them single layer. Don't overlap them, don't shingle them, okay? And you want one nice, beautiful single layer, see? Voila. Then you're going into your preheated 375 degree oven for the next 12 to 14 minutes until they are beautifully crisp on the outside and golden brown, and are crisp in the middle and just starting to get golden brown in the middle. You don't want moisture left in them, because when you go to store them, the moisture will come out and they will get soggy again. So when they come out, magic of TV, they look like that. Golden brown and crispy, crispy, crispy. They shouldn't bend, they should snap, they shouldn't shatter into dust either. They should snap perfectly in half. Now, when these cool, all the way cool, you can store them in a airtight container until date night. I like a Ziploc bag, or you can stack them up, put them in a little deli container or a Tupperware. Should the worst case scenario happen and you go to remove them from the container on date night and they are soft, that's okay, don't start to cry. You can put them in, date night is not ruined, put them in a very low, like a 200 or 250 degree oven for a little bit, and they will dry out and they will re-crisp. But ideally, if you cook them perfectly like this, and you get them fully crispy in a 375 degree oven, and they're nice and thin, and you wait for them to cool all the way before you package them away, they should be fine. Okay, so there's crostini 101. Don't mess those up, because you need crostini for every single recipe. Okay, we will be back to make parm dip right now. As promised, I am back, DesignHounds, to give you the quick rundown 101 on parm dip. The main, most important thing with parm dip is that you don't absolutely just devour all of it out of the bowl on the day you make it, or the next midnight snack, or the next day. We, in the restaurant, we would call, I don't want to be politically incorrect, but we would call this stuff crack. It is super addictive. I'm sharing this recipe with you because you want to always have a jar of this in your refrigerator. One of my restaurants, we serve this in lieu of butter or olive oil with our bread and butter service at the beginning of the meal, and it almost bankrupted us because people would just rip through it and they would ask for more and more and more and more, and we were just buying Parmesan and Asiago cheese like it was going out of style. You're gonna love it. Salsa di Parmigiano, I prefer to just call it parm dip because that's what it is. Dip it in bread, put it on crostini, bruschetta, it goes great over eggs. Toss with some spaghetti on a lazy pasta for dinner night. It goes great over a steak. It goes great mixed up as a vinaigrette on a salad. It goes good spooned over a Caesar salad. The list goes on and on and on for Parmesan dip. So like I said, the main key here is just don't eat it all before date night. Parmesan dip gets just pulsed in the food processor. My food processor here at the Experience and Design Center is humongous. It's a commercial processor. It is in the back. It sounds like an army tank. I'm not going to pull it out for you guys. You don't need to see it. The recipe is written, and I'm going to show you the caveats, tricks of the recipe. So, Parmesan and Asiago cheese. You want to cut it up into cubes. Okay? A little bit of rind's okay, so you're going to blast it into little granules. About 1 inch cube, half to 1 inch cube, okay? Those half to 1 inch cubes are going to go in the food processor. They are gonna come out looking, you're gonna pulse until your Parmesan is like chunky grated, kind of like sand. See that? You want it a little bigger than grated Parmesan, but it's pulse until it has this little fine, teeny little pebble sand consistency, okay? Then, you want to take every other ingredient in the recipe except for the extra virgin olive oil. I repeat, except for the extra virgin olive oil. You want to take the scallions, the basil, the chili flake, the pepper, the garlic, I think that's all of it. And you want to put that in the blender and you want to pulse that into almost like a super chopped up paste, like a pesto looking element, like that. Okay? Then, if you like, it's super easy. You can just combine them back now, all the cheese and your aromatic herb garlic paste back in the food processor. Pulse it again. Then pour it out into a bowl and add the olive oil. So what I'm gonna do, because I don't have my fancy army tank machine out here, I have this that I have pulsed in the back. I have my herb and aromatic garlic paste, complete with chili flake and black pepper. That's gonna go in to my bowl of blasted Parmesan and Asiago, and then I have a quantity of, follow the recipe, this one works good, I have a quantity of olive oil that I may need a bit more of because I eyeballed the quantity of cheese. So what you want, that was a cup. I think the recipe calls for a cup or a cup and a half. Actually, that worked really well. Anyways, I'm kind of eyeballing a lot of this. It's a big tip. Just read the recipes. They do work. So what you have now is this, and it looks like cheese pesto is basically what it looks like. It looks like a Parmesan cheese pesto. It should have that consistency. It should be oily. It should almost look like a relish or like a compote, but of Parmesan cheese. And that's exactly what it is. Parm dip. Now, pull your crostini out of the oven, like I said, and try not to eat all of this before date night. So, parm dip's done. Pack it into a jar or an airtight container of some sort. Pop it in your fridge. This stuff lasts for up to 2 weeks. Now that you have the recipe for this, I would never ever let your fridge go without a jar of Signature Kitchen Sweet parm dip. Okay, so there's that one. Perfect parm dip. Easy, right? Okay, we will be back and we will very quickly make Tuscan artichoke and white bean puree. Be back. DesignHounds, we are back. We are cleaned up from crostini and Parmesan dip. Another thing, tip, stay clean. See how I have all my mise en place, everything's done? Big tip to you when making all these recipes as well. Keep all your stuff. Look, so here we are gonna make the Tuscan white bean and artichoke dip spread. Keep all your stuff all ready to go. Don't be like opening the can of beans as you're trying to read the recipe and you already have the garlic going. Make sure you have all your, that's mise en place, all your stuff in place, and then it's easy to just go cook right through it. That's how it's so easy for me to make these videos for you. So, bean and artichoke puree I have here. This is a double batch just so, well, two things. So you can see see better, the ingredients. And so if I mess it up and I need to make another video, we can do that. We're gonna use Boost induction for this. This one's also very quick. We have supplied some high quality pre-cooked cannellini beans. Drain them, rinse them. I don't like the canned brine liquid on the beans for this recipe. We have supplied a beautiful marinated jarred artichoke heart. Drain them over a bowl in a colander so you can keep the juice, the marinade. You want all the oil and marinade that comes off of the artichoke heart. I have mine right here in this nifty little copper pitcher because that's what we're gonna pour in to make our puree consistency and some flavor. And we're gonna add a little bit of fresh lemon juice, preferably a Meyer lemon, and some fresh lemon zest. Also, this is a nice one when we get to the actual presentation of it at date night. Save some lemon zest and some pretty herb leaves and stuff because there's a couple different very attractive ways to present this. And if you save some little garnish for it, we'll show you that at date night. So I am boosting here. We are boosting. We are gonna put a drizzle of extra virgin olive oil in this pan on Boost. We wanna give some flavor to our recipe. So we're gonna start with a big spoon of chopped garlic. Recipe says, I don't know what the recipe says exactly. Follow it, it'll work. I think it's a tablespoon or it's 2 cloves or something like that. Start mixing your chopped garlic around. Look at how hot the Boost burner. I have to take it off the burner so it doesn't burn. When your chopped garlic starts to get nice and golden brown, you can add some herbs. I've suggested thyme or rosemary. We're gonna use thyme in another recipe, so I'm gonna use rosemary here. I love rosemary. Ooh, it got me. I love rosemary with white beans. So you have brown garlic, you have crispy rosemary. We're gonna add a pinch of chili flake. Add more if you like extra spicy. And then before, look, and that's what you should have, nice aromatics, garlic, rosemary, chili. And before the garlic burns, you're gonna add your beans. Add your white beans. You should hear that nice hot sizzle. Whether you have a Boost burner or not, you want a nice hot sizzle. Now all you really want here, the beans are already cooked in a very flavorful brine. All you want is for them to get coated with that little saute of garlic and herbs and chili that you have made. Now, you can make this in a food processor or you can make this in a blender. If you have one of these Vitamix blenders, if you have Everyone has the Ninja at home, it seems like. It works. I make soup and purees in the Ninja at my house all the time. Here we're going to use the Vitamix, commercial product, but you get what I'm saying. Food processor or a blender. Now, you get a nice little saute. Then you can add a little bit of your liquid to the pan. This is the canned artichoke liquid. That will take the chill off the liquid, and it will be a little bit easier to puree. Okay, so remove your pitcher top from your blender. You want to do this while it's still hot because they'll puree very nicely. So you're going to spoon your beans into, once again, this is a double recipe, so I'm only going to spoon half of them in. What's that oven telling me? Nothing. Okay, so half of my beans are in my blender or food processor if you choose to use a food processor. Then my artichoke hearts, which are already marinated in a very delicious marinade. Being that, like I said, I have a double recipe in front of me, we're going to spoon half of my artichoke hearts into food processor or blender. Here, squeeze lemon, the whole thing. Put the zest in at the end. Juice now. You're going to pour a little more of your artichoke marinade in right off the bat. VitaPrep blender, careful, this could be loud. I'll try and keep the microphone away so it doesn't blow your eardrums out. It's commercial equipment. Okay, start slow and go fast. And stop and check it out. I eyeballed that one pretty good, and I think we nailed it. Had it have been extra thick and it didn't want to puree smoothly, then there's still artichoke liquid in here from the reserved jars that you could drizzle in. If it's really stubborn and thick, you can add a little extra virgin olive oil or a little more lemon juice. Careful, the lemon juice will make it super acidic. But what you want is this puree that is smooth and kind of resembles hummus. Because that's kind of what we're making here is a white bean and artichoke version of hummus. Amazing vegan appetizer, vegan canapé, vegan side dish. This is a great vegan one, and often I get bored of seeing hummus everywhere, being fed different flavors of hummus everywhere. White bean and artichoke with the fried rosemary and garlic and everything, it really takes on a different nuance, but it has that smooth spread consistency like hummus does, and it will appease your vegan diners or yourself if you are vegan. So that was the bean puree with the artichoke. Here is what it looks like on a spoon. Beautiful, beautiful white bean color. It's smooth, like I said, consistency of hummus. That's what we're looking for on white bean artichoke puree. I will be back to make caponata, and that is the last lesson that I have for this installment of True to Food homework for date night. Thank you. Okay, we're back. Final recipe for DesignHounds Summer Lovin' Date Night. This one really is summer lovin'. This is a great summer recipe with the eggplant, the peppers, orange zest, the balsamic. Love this one in summer. This goes great as a side dish with a piece of fish, grilled fish, or steamed fish or something like that in the summertime. Some sauteed scallops. Really, really nice with the eggplant caponata. Or just with baguette or on crostini, or as an appetizer with some goat cheese and a little salad like we're doing it at date night. So, caponata, eggplant, balsamic onion, and roasted red pepper caponata. I'm going to show you a couple tricks so that, once again, your caponata looks like my caponata, and it's all true to food caponata. So, eggplant, we will send you a beautiful globe eggplant. I have peeled this one. You should too. Eggplant skin gets very tough when sauteed at high heat, which we're gonna do to this eggplant. So I like to, just like a potato, with a potato peeler or with a sharp knife, remove the skin. Now, size on this is very important. Size does matter here. We want little, small cubes. So, take your eggplant, slice them into planks that are about 1/4 inch thick, and then from there, dice your planks just like that so that you have small to medium diced eggplant, like in this bowl here. Small to medium diced, like little croutons size, okay? Now, eggplant's like a sponge. You need a lot of oil to cook eggplant, and you want to cook eggplant over a very, very high boost heat, or very, very high heat. Eggplant will soak up a lot of oil. That's why we have sent you pure olive oil to cook the eggplant. I like to fry the eggplant. If you should be one with a tabletop deep fryer at home and you want to deep fry your eggplant, go ahead. This recipe will work just as well. But I use a good bit of pure olive oil. Pure olive oil is a refined olive oil that will get much hotter than extra virgin. And you don't have to feel bad about frying in it and straining it out and not using it. So, when your oil is very, very hot, lightly smoking, you're gonna add your eggplant in on boost. Keep it hot. Move it into a single layer and just let it do its thing and fry. If it absorbs all the oil, add a little more. You want it to be frying around in the oil and turning golden brown, like this one that I started ahead of time. Do you see how beautiful and golden brown the eggplant is? Now, when it is at this perfect golden brown cubes, you want to strain it because there's a lot of oil in there. So I have a perforated pan. You can use a colander over a bowl or a strainer. And you want to pour the eggplant out so that it drains all the oil. You want to keep this oil, put it back in the pan, and that's how we're going to make our balsamic onions. So your pan's still hot, your oil's hot. You can go right in with your recipe increment of yellow onion that is also small diced like the eggplant. You want to keep that on high because we want a nice quick saute. We also want a little spoonful of chopped garlic in there with our onion. And we can add a little bit of fresh thyme to saute all together with our onion. Onion, garlic, thyme. And we used, once again, we used the oil that we drained from cooking the eggplant. I'm going to let my second batch of eggplant, you will need to cook the eggplant in 2 pans to get a nice fry on it. So, my onions are in, half my eggplant's cooked, the other half of my eggplant is cooking. Peppers, you're going to get a beautiful little jar of already roasted peppers. These are just diced up the same size as everything else was, a nice small dice, so you have a nice, pretty, attractive crostini bite when you're done. Make sure everything is the same size. Also, we have some capers for this recipe, some orange zest, some minced parsley, and balsamic vinegar. You can't make balsamic onions without balsamic vinegar. So, we're going to let the onions go until they're caramelized and golden brown, and we're going to let the eggplant go until it is nice and crisp, dark brown fried like the first pan I showed you. And then we will be back to finish these up. Okay, we're back. Caponata part 2. I wasn't gonna make you sit and watch me stir onions and toss eggplant around because that's all I was doing. But as you can see on my very hot boost burner, this eggplant has gotten nice and perfectly golden brown cubes, just like the first pan I showed you. We're gonna pour that into our perforated pan or colander with the other eggplant. Let it drain nicely. Here, you can see the onions are nice and lightly caramelized. They're still a little bit white and turning translucent, but they're starting to get nice and golden brown around the edge. You can smell the garlic and the thyme all throughout the kitchen. This is where you add the balsamic. I believe, I don't know, I think it's 1/3 of a cup. You've watched enough Chef Nick videos to know that I don't always measure when I'm doing these videos for you. It takes away from all the fun. However, follow the recipe because it works. I believe 1/3 of a cup, maybe 1/2 a cup of balsamic vinegar. So the balsamic vinegar goes into the hot pan and will immediately start to reduce and absorb into the onions. At that time, you want to add the juice from the capers that you have reserved. And you can go ahead, get your peppers close by and get your capers close by. When your vinegar reduces to the point of basically no vinegar, what we call sec, it will reduce pretty much dry to where it will just be left glazing the onions. And all this vinegar will cook into your onion and we'll have that balsamic onion that we're looking for. The bubbles will start to get really, really tight. The balsamic will get reduced. Don't burn it, it will get bitter. So, what we have here is exactly that. Your sauteed caramelized onion that is now fully glazed in balsamic vinegar. Now, go ahead and add your capers. You're gonna go ahead and add your chopped up bell peppers. If there's a little water in them, get rid of that. Here's your chopped up bell peppers. And you're gonna give that a toss if you're so culinarily inclined, or you're gonna give it a probably much more realistic mix with a spoon. And you should have that delicious looking pan of balsamic caramelized onions, the diced up roasted peppers, and capers. Now, where's my mixing bowl? Here it is. Mixing bowl, while this is all still warm, so the flavors meld and marry together. Get your fried eggplant in the bowl. Get your mix of peppers, onions, capers in with the eggplant. Slide this over out of our way. Now, while this is still warm, get the orange zest in, all of it from 2 oranges, and a big pinch of fresh chopped flat leaf Italian parsley. Okay? Everything in. See, you have a big mountain of stuff in there. And then just very gently, but like I said, while it's still hot and while it's still moist, mix it all up, and it should look like a delicious, oh, this looks so good. It should look like an eggplant salsa, like a chopped eggplant pico de gallo with balsamic. That's what it looks like. See? Beautiful. So now you can store this in an airtight container, and we'll show you a couple amazing ways to present this along with your Tuscan artichoke spread. That should look like that, very much like hummus, and your marinated Parmesan dip. That should look like that, exactly like a marinated dip of Parmesan. Okay? So 1, 2, 3, and your eggplant caponata, along with your perfect crispy crostini. And we will see you very shortly, Design Hounds, for the actual summer Lovin' date night. I cannot wait to join you again to show you how to present all this food and eat it.